Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. We are glad to have you here. Today we are going to continue our series on free speech, and in particular free speech on college campuses. In the San Francisco Chronicle today we have a story titled "We Must Denounce the Idea of Free Speech as Violence" by Jonathan Zinnerman. Let's take a look at his bio so we know who we're listening to. Mr. Zinnerman, or if you prefer, Professor Zinnerman, teaches education at history at the University of Pennsylvania and is the author of Campus Politics, What Everyone Needs to Know. Okay, so he is on the left side of the aisle. And this is what he has to say. When the actor Jussie Smollett charged that two men shouting "This is MAGA country" had attacked him, also yelling racist and homophobic taunts, my fellow liberals were quick to blame the rise in such incidents on President Trump and his supporters who want to make America great again. Smollett was indicted by an Illinois grand jury on February 20th for apparently faking the whole episode. But the larger trend is real. Hate crimes have spiked during the Trump era. And surely the president's own bigoted rhetoric, Mexicans and rapists, Africans live in holes, countries, and so on, has something to do with that. Now, you notice here that it has a blue line and it illuminates so that we can go to the source. That's really cool. I like it when we do that. Okay, Smollett was indicted by an Illinois grand jury on February 20th for apparently faking the whole episode. But the larger trend is real. Hate crimes have spiked during the Trump era. There's no blue line under that because it's not true. They all go to one source. They go to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And the Southern Poverty Law Center only measures those attacks that are on the left, and they report all reported incidents of hate crimes, not convictions of hate crimes, which means the Southern Poverty Law Center will always include Jussie Smollett's attack, even if he's convicted, as a hate crime because it was reported. So, no, I'm sorry, real hate crimes have not gone up under Trump. They're using false sources, and that's why there's no blue line. And let's look at the next thing. And surely the president's own bigoted rhetoric. Bigoted, remembering that bigot means to have new information come your way and refuse to accept it because you just don't wanna. This is bigoted, that he says Mexicans are rapists and Africans live in... There's no blue line under that for good reason. He didn't say Mexicans are rapists. Go back and hear what he actually said, because that ain't it. And he never said Africans live in... No, he did say certain people live in that, but it wasn't Africans. And that's why there's no blue line under it. That's bigoted and bias, etc. We're all used to the bias. We don't like it, but there it is. So why aren't we denouncing the culture of intolerance on America's universities, campuses, where dissenting voices have faced physical attacks? And doesn't our silence on that score make us partly responsible for the violence just as Trump is complicit in hate crimes? Wow, Trump is responsible for everything. For those of you not old enough to remember, George Bush II, Jr., whatever you want to call him, it was the same thing. You can go back and look at the forums because he was around when the internet was coming to life. And they said the same things about Bush that they're saying about Trump. That everything was Bush's fault. Everything was Bush's fault. And then, of course, Obama gets in and it was still everything was Bush's fault. But I digress. Consider the assault on conservative activists last month at UC Berkeley, where he was displaying posters declaring "This is MAGA country," which is what Smollett said the attacker shouted, and "hate crime hoaxes hurt real victims." I have a video on that if you want to check it out on whether or not it really does hurt real victims. Let's see, two men accosted the conservative activist with explicatives. One denounced him for encouraging violence, and as if on cue, the second man then punched the activist in the face. All right. So what we want to do here is we want to get into the idea of whether or not speech is actually violent. And let's take a look. Here we go. That argument talked about, indeed, some demonstrators claimed... Hold on. Give me time here. Let's see. There it is. And she wouldn't be alone. According to a 2017 survey of 800 undergraduates around the country, 81% think that think that words can be violent. And 30%, that is almost 1 out of 3, think that physical violence can be justified to prevent someone from using hateful words. Now, where I want to take issue with this statement is where he says, according to a 2017 survey of 800 undergraduates around the country, 81% think that words can be violent. Think that. No, they were taught that. They didn't magically just start thinking that. They were magically taught that. And that's not magically delicious. So, yeah, I'm glad he's going after the colleges and trying to get them to bend their ways, but he's not holding them accountable for how it happened. Those younger people didn't just come to be thinking that way. They were taught that in these universities. Okay. You can't have a free university or a free society on those terms. Words will always offend someone. I'm sure mine are doing that right now. I know his offended me. And if you construe them as violent, you clear the way for physical assault upon anyone who gives offense. That seems to be what happened last month at Berkeley, where one attacker said that the conservative speech encouraged violence, but the rest of us encourage it too if we don't step up to denounce the whole idea of speech as violence. It's too easy to criticize Trump for stoking hate and intolerance. It's a lot harder to look in the mirror. And yet, who was it at the beginning of the story that was criticizing Trump? Whether or not he's looking in the mirror, I'm not 100% sure. I don't have any evidence of that. There's no blue line for that comment from me. But I will say this. I'm glad he's doing it. And this is the beast they created. There's a saying that goes back to the French Revolution, maybe earlier, that a revolution always eats their own. And we are to the point where the revolution is eating their own. It's kind of fun to watch from the outside, but as an American, yep, I'm in America, it is not fun to watch my country be destroyed by the infighting. We've had a revolution. We've had a civil war. We don't need another one. We need people to remember the name of the country is the United States of America, not the diversified, not the diversity, the United States of America. And we can't come together if you're going to start punching people because you didn't like what they have to say. We have to be able to work together in peaceful manner and in a respectful manner. And respect doesn't mean that you have to be nice. It just means you can't be rude. Sometimes being respectful is just closing your mouth and listening. And with that, I'm going to stop making sound in case you want to have something to add at the bottom so I can listen to you. Thanks for coming by the Tea Party Hardy channel. We are glad to have you here. If you'd like to put a like on this video, that would be really cool. If you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you. We've got enough content on the channel now. You have some idea of where we're going with this. We are a new channel, so hopefully as time goes on, we'll get better at it and we'll see what you guys are looking for and see if we can make sure that we all come together in harmony like that too. All right. Hey, have a great day. And just remember, be nice to each other and we'll be a lot better off.